Welcome to another episode of Mr. Therapist and the Cancer Podcast. We are your guide towards personal recovery, whether you're dealing with an addiction, a mental health issue, or you're just trying to figure life out. We empower your growth through candid conversations and demystifying the process of therapy. I'm Manny Romero. Jesse O.
This week on Time Sessions, we process the day I tried to live. Also, with this month being Suicide Awareness Month, we want to talk about that as well.
That's right. Please make sure to follow us, subscribe, share the show if you find some value. Let's hit it.
Dun, 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 dun. No, sorry. That's hey, what's up?
Here we go. Here we go.
That was John Cena's music. I started off. Sorry, Big Dave. I didn't mean to start off the episode that way.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got another episode this week.
That's right.
Mr. Therapist,
Counselor,
and the counselor. That's both of us, right? So what's going on?
Not much, man.
Yeah.
We're much checking in, warming up.
Yeah.
Doing the warm-up thing.
So this week we decided before we went into the time session, based on our episode we just recently recorded, we talked about having a little warm-up before we actually hit the clock. We start the real process because that's what you would do in therapy, right? Yeah. Like, as you said, like all joking aside, just a little BS to warm up before we get really into the root of what the theme and topic this week is. So I wanted to say a couple things from last week's episode. It is... heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Oh.
We screwed that up.
We did.
Do you remember when I used to say the man that will become king when we used to work together back then?
The man who will be king.
Yeah, you remember that? Do you remember when I said
that?
Do you know why I said that to you?
Because you thought that we were like that I was going to step into clinical director at some
point.
Yeah,
you were going to be a leader.
Yeah.
You were going to be the man.
Sorry,
dude.
I let you down.
You didn't let me down, man.
No, I know.
You rose to the occasion.
The empire.
So you did a full Michael Pena, if you know what I'm saying. So that's an inside joke that you will not get to hear today.
No.
On Mr. Therapist in the podcast. But you did. You rose to the occasion. You rose to the occasion, and you did. You really stepped up. But I knew from like a young age, man, this guy, like he had it. He had that it factor.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean that. So also a couple things we talked about last week. We talked about the 72 seasons, the first 18 years of life. The reference that James Hetfield from Metallica actually talked about was from the Big Red Book, which I have never read, and I actually am not that familiar with, but it's based on adult children of alcoholics.
It's called the Big Red Book?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you know, the blue book, the big blue book, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, but which I just thought that was so powerful in that because, once again, his upbringing, being an addict himself and alcoholism. Yeah. So I thought that was important to talk about, or just mention for the people that listened last week. Yeah. And it was interesting, too. Like I said, we talked all this Metallica stuff, which we're going to be done with Metallica after this. But there's a song.
Metallica. Trying to get that SEO.
I like when you did last week. You said master. But you did that, right? Yeah.
I did, yeah.
You were so full freaking Hessian. It was awesome, man.
So good.
Kind of wish
my daughter listened to Metallica now on the way to jiu-jitsu. We did it this
morning.
So
you get all fired up.
Yeah, get her fired up, get her going.
Do you know a song that you played that like she got her going? Or we just kind of like randomly play?
Like the whole guitar thing and the drums. She's just like.
Yeah.
She goes crazy in the car. So.
But there was this, we talked about the light and the darkness last week, and they actually have a song on the new album called Lux Aeterna, which is Latin for eternal light, which kind of references the idea of, like, once again, finding the light in the darkness, the stars and that dark night. So
yeah. I mean, very appropriate for what we discussed last time, right? Like, yeah. For sure.
Is there anything? Yeah. So for you this week, is there anything that you need to bring up?
Anything I need to bring up? No.
I want to bring.
I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous. I asked you to help me out and come join me in the Empowered Circle that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to start that up. I feel like it's been a long time coming for me to like get a little group started like that to add to the services that we're offering in my practice and. Yeah, that'll be exciting. Putting a group together, group of guys. We're going to be talking about some emotional intelligence, emotional resilience.
When is the date for that again?
Supporting September 12th, Tuesday, September 12th, which will be past when this It would have already passed.
Oh man, you should have promoted the hell out of this before.
I know that's how I do though. But yeah, but we're gonna be.
That's how I do it. I don't promote.
I don't promote. I just do it. That's why no one shows up. No, no. But we are gonna be meeting every month. So hit me up. Let me know if you're interested, and I can send you the link for the next dates. But Jesse O is gonna be in the house. Mr. Therapist. We're gonna tag team this. It's gonna be sick.
I noticed that you're drinking just the cold brew.
Just
so you're not
nitro.
drinking pumpkin spice.
No, because according to the society's assumptions that Mexicans love pumpkin spice, I can't say that I do.
Yeah, I said last week that white people love pumpkin spice.
Did you say that?
I did say that. Oh. Yeah. So
I don't know if that's true.
I think it's very true.
It's generalizing.
Yeah, I think so. White people love Ben Affleck too.
Yeah.
You know the Kardashians like white people now.
Do they?
Yeah, they're going through like a white guy phase.
That's awesome.
So I have a chance.
Diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta talk to my wife about that. But this week, do we want to start the clock right now?
Let's start it. Yeah. Let's get going.
All right. So time sessions. The clock is going to start right now. I'm a little nervous about this week because this is a very serious topic, a very serious month. Maybe we could put this out there already, but this week is Suicide Awareness Month. The colors actually, I got purple in the shirt. I think this is a little green, but colors are purple and teal. That just is like just a mention. I wanted to share that. But with it being Suicide Awareness,
does it have anything to do with suicide? Is that
no, dude? That's just the colors they chose, man.
Oh, they chose those colors.
I didn't.
I'm like, why are you talking about your shirt right now?
I don't know. I just saw that they for a ribbon. If you see a ribbon, maybe somebody rocking a ribbon,
you really thought this out. You could have communicated with your co-host.
Hey, man, anytime you rock the purple pants, it's an awareness month. You know what I'm saying? So, but I wanted to give the number here, the National Suicide Prevention number. Actually, there's two different numbers. Manny, what's the first one?
The first one is it's a new number, it's 988. And if you just dial that, it's a crisis line. Suicide prevention line.
Yeah. There's also one that's been, I think, around for a long time. It's the 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. We try to make light of like what's going on with mental health and addiction on this podcast. But
make it consumable for all audiences to receive, because not everyone can. A very serious conversation won't appeal to a lot of people, but I think everyone or most people need to hear about mental health stuff, and so we kind of make it more consumable, right, for people. But this is a serious topic we're going to talk about today. Yeah,
this impacts people I've known, people you've known. Before we go, I asked you first was like, you've most definitely experienced clients that have probably have lost hope and have probably sat in on the couch with you, in the chair with you, and have spoke about like those type of thoughts. So when you do experience a client that's going through that, or you get a sense of that, we can go through the whole little bit tiny of the clinical portion of just like, what do you do when somebody's actually thinking about it, like discussing the honest thoughts about it. Anything, if you want to take this and just kind of share your experiences and what do you do with that? How do you handle that as a therapist?
So there's a couple different levels to it. I think as a therapist, clinically, ethically, and our responsibility is to, like, when we're encountering someone who's in that state of mind, like, we have to come up with a plan for them, right? And so kind of make sure that, like, we assess the, like, level of crisis they're in, right? Like, is it just because these things come in levels? Is it a thought? Is it a thought with an intention? Is it a thought with an intention and a plan? Like, how likely are you to actually do this in the immediate future? And we come up with a plan depending on where they're at, just to make sure that they're safe. But I think, like, in a genuine, like, what do you do if you don't have this obligation? How do you help somebody? Just connect with them, you know what I mean? And I think for people who haven't dealt with this before, if it's a family member, a friend, or someone that you're seeing, a lot of times I think the internal response is to want to, like, convince them to not do it, or convince them to find help, or to kind of snap them out of it in some way. But I took a training on this a while back ago, but as a therapist, actually, what I want to do is talk more about it, like understand like, where they're at, and not be afraid of the conversation. Does that make sense? Like, and just create a relationship where you're just understanding what they're feeling on the inside, understanding like where some of the pressure or some of the pain is coming from. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do, is just I try to connect with somebody, try to understand them, try to see them in their pain, be with them in their pain, and that's kind of like what I can probably best do for someone, on top of the planning to make sure that they're doing okay afterwards. Yeah.
Working in addiction recovery, there's sometimes a thought process for me when I see somebody that's so deep in their addiction. Maybe they come into like a program or treatment or to therapy, counseling, whatever it is, and they're not ready. And maybe they're still so deep in that mindset. Sometimes I'll have this thought of like, maybe they're too far gone at this point in time. And what I mean by that is like, maybe, I don't want to say I'm hopeless, but maybe there's not a sense of recovery, at least right now in that moment. Like I'm so limited on what I could do.
Like they're not ready right now.
Yeah. Has there ever been moments for you when somebody is in deep of their depression, or even like the top of, I don't want to say they're in having suicidal thoughts or maybe suicidal ideations, but have you ever thought like, I don't know what I can do for this person besides, trying to finding a way to connect, but the shots are missing. You're not hitting. Has there been a level of sense of just like, how do I deal with somebody that's not like I said, too far gone, not ready to come back?
Yeah, I think I gotta, if I do ever have that expectation, I gotta check that expectation at the door, because as a therapist, you battle between like, how much can I actually do for someone, especially if someone is in a state of mind and maybe they're not in a place where they can leave that state of mind yet, right? And so I think there's room for that being true. So no, I can't always put it on me to like get them out of that state of mind, get them out of that, I think, readiness of change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like a lot of times I'm thinking about a lot of different sessions I've had where people are depressed for months, right? Like there's a few sessions of like just connecting, and that's all we're really doing for the whole 50 minutes. And like as little that movement that might seem like in the big sort of like grand scheme of things, that can be a lot for a client to just have someone listen to them, because a lot of the times in that moment, you feel like you're a burden. You feel like nobody wants to listen to you. You feel like no one gives a shit about what you have to say. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that someone's giving you connecting with you, giving you a place to talk, they care about what you have to say, they ask you questions on the things that you're talking about, they want to understand more. Like sometimes that is a lot for that individual person, just to be like, fuck, thank you for that hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that means the world to them.
Yeah.
It could shift. I mean, and I've noticed for myself personally, like sometimes when I feel like something is never ending, the idea of just even the opportunity just to like share a little bit can just be so relieving, and can shift the mindset, at least for a little bit, for that, if you're obsessed on the thought. So
especially if you have that feeling of like, I'm burdening someone by sharing this with them, or like people don't have time to hear this, or like no one cares that I feel this way. Like if you can flip that expectation around for someone who thinks that, and they're like experiencing you wanting to know more, wanting to be there, like that can be a powerful shift for somebody.
It's interesting that you used the word expectation, because I heard this song recently, and it said that hope is a dangerous little thing. And I was like, I heard that, and I was like, wow, because I always saw hope as such a positive thing. But in a sense, it's such a dangerous thing, because we keep hoping for something, and tomorrow never brings it. And even through the what I was doing research with the Suicide Awareness Month was that their moniker for this month this year is creating hope through action. But I was thinking about hope, and how hope it can be this unrealistic expectation sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was going to talk about that, but then when I read that whole hope through action, so if there is hope and you're creating an expectation from something that you're hoping comes through, the action to that might be accepting that this is not the path for you, and I've got to find other avenues to get to where I need to be. May it be like happiness, or whatever the goal is. So it's not to quit on yourself. I know it's an old thing when people say, I remember growing up, and it's something I would hear people say, like, suicide is the easy way out. And I've worked with people that have been so depressed and so down. To them, like, life is not easy at all and has never gotten easier. Right. So I feel like, what do you think of that whole idea, like that concept? What would, if somebody were to say that? Because I also realize that is said a lot of times for people that have experienced somebody that have lost somebody to suicide and they're hurt.
Yeah.
There are options. There are ways to address those things. But do you ever hear that people say that anymore?
Like that
people maybe
hope. Like
no.
Like
the whole thing with like suicide is an easy way out.
Yeah, suicide. Yeah. I mean, I think people, there's still. I mean, if someone hasn't experienced suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts, I think when you say suicide is an easy way out, do you mean to say like minimizing the pain that someone's going through? Almost
I
like
think
saying
it's,
like,
I think
they're being weak by.
I think that a lot of times I get that from the person that knows somebody that's attempted the suicide, or
that's gotta come from hurt. Though,
right?
I
think so.
Like,
that's where it is. It's a pain.
Of like a justification for almost like this anger maybe towards the person for choosing the easy route, right? And the last time I had a conversation with someone who was close to that, I think, we were talking about just that, like how like, no, there is no easy route. Like someone who experiences suicidal ideation isn't like, oh man, like this is an easy option for me. There's contemplation around, do I do this? Do I not? Like, who am I going to let down? How is this going to go down for the people I love? Like, there is a lot of thinking around that. So this is not an easy, it's not like, they just were like, you know what, screw it. Like, it's not that easy, I guess, of a, I don't know, what do you call it? Like, a process of thinking about this. But I can understand like family members who are in pain or people who don't understand that perspective because maybe they haven't felt that pain themselves, can kind of, see that and then almost say like, hey, like this person just did the weak thing, right? Or like, yeah.
Hey, I do want to ask because I was going to share a story. I don't know how much time Brandon, like how much time do we have? I just wanted to ask you. 8 minutes? Okay. I wanted to bring this up because I think this is important for this episode. And it's not, I'm a little uncomfortable sharing it and talking about it, but I did want to bring it up. But in the year of, this is also Recovery Month, I believe, as well, right? So interesting, they both tie in. It's all mental health addiction. This is what a lot of this podcast is supposed to represent, is supporting that, right, through our conversations and being vulnerable. But in June of 2013, I had reached a point in my life where I felt like life was just too hard and I didn't want to do this anymore. And I was heavy in drug addiction, heavy in using, and I was living with somebody that I had no emotional connection with, and I was really kind of trying to find my way out. Like, I really was desperate. I didn't really know how to ask for help. I didn't know what it meant to like get off. Could I get off drugs? I didn't know how to have that open conversation with people. So I remember it was late June, and I remember I had a conversation with the girl that I was living with, and I remember she said something to me about how like, you're not the person that I met, and like she really ripped me down. And I think she had every right to say that. I'll say that because I had really fallen apart. I remember her saying like, you kind of almost like, I remember the word disgusting, and maybe that word wasn't even said because like my memory can be a little it wavers as the years go on, and I try to replace the more good memories than the bad memories, right? But I remember her saying something along the lines of that because I was falling apart physically. I wasn't taking care of myself. I remember I had like rotting teeth in my mouth. I had like an infection in my toe. I had gained like weight, probably the heaviest I'd ever been. I just wasn't taking care of myself. And I felt disgusting on the inside, on the outside. So I thought to myself, I don't think I want to do this anymore, right? So I ended up reaching out. I was going to say reach out to a friend, if you want to call him that. He was somebody I bought drugs from. So I'd asked if I could get a gun from him. I didn't really go into details why, but I finagled my way into getting like a gun. And may I say, I don't know how to use a fucking gun all that well. And I think but I think there was just kind of like this desperation. I was like, maybe I'll get a gun and I could do something with it.
Yeah.
So I remember I got the gun from him, and I went to a concert. It was June 29th. I went to a concert in Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure it was June 29th. It was a Saturday. Went down to LA, had the gun in my car. The bands that we're going to see were Everclear, Live, and Filter. They're for the 90s fans, rock fans, alternative fans. You can look that up. I went into the concert. I was loaded out of my mind on opiates, too. I went into the show. I remember I was contemplating, like, what should I do with this? I don't really know what to do. Like, the dude had showed me how to use the gun, but I was like, is this just a cry for help? But I don't know what I was crying for help for, right? So I got down there, and I went to the concert, and I remember I was so mad because one of the band's lead singer wasn't in the band anymore. And my initial thought, I laughed because it's so ridiculous, but I was like, fuck it. You know what? This sucks. Like, life sucks. The lead singer's not in this band. This is the night. So I went into the car and I sat in there for hours, and I had the gun, and I did a lot of like thinking and touching the gun and playing with the gun. But there was a part of me like I was this is kind of terrible to say, and I want people to take it for what it is, but like I was scared I just fucked that up too. Like if I used a gun and tried to kill myself, I'd probably just do something really wrong, and I was like, I can't even do this right. So part of me was like, I got up to the roof, and I was like looking to maybe I could jump off the roof type of thing. I don't remember the moment. Maybe the moment is just I finally just quit on that idea.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't call anybody. But something inside me decided not to do it that night. And I don't know if there was a moment in my loaded mind, that self-reflection of like, I don't have to end life this way. And even though a lot of my heroes throughout my life have died, like, maybe because they were addicts and they didn't know how to get better, or they overdosed, and even some of my heroes have committed suicide. Even after I got sober, I look at the people that I've really like grown fond of, and but anyways, in that moment, I decided not to. And then after that. Shortly after that, I realized that my life, I didn't know what to do. I called my mom and I told her. I didn't tell her about that, and I haven't told too many people about this story right here. But I just told my mom I need to start over. And I didn't know how to do it. I told her I had this really severe drug problem. I don't know how to quit. But I realized I need to leave this place that I live, the state that I'm at, the state of California, all of it, the state of mind I was in, and just, I need to start over. And that began like my recovery from drugs, but it also became like that rebuilding of realizing like life has been, I felt at times, difficult for me mentally, and sometimes I feel like I can't get through it, but you can. Yeah. And even present day, I have something that I want to remind people is like, you never know what people are going through. So I think it's so important to check in on your friends, see how they're doing, because you never know. There could be a friend of yours like me who didn't know what to do. Yeah, it seems so simple to ask for help, even like to get sober or whatever it is, but like it's not, because there's so much shame and guilt, and I felt so much shame in that night and that evening. It's just like, as I said, I sat in my car for hours contemplating like my life, and I wish I could give you a more detailed explanation of what turned it off. No, you don't need to. But I'm so happy I was able to turn that off, that thought, at least in that moment. And sometimes the darkness comes back in, and I have negative thoughts and dark thoughts, and because I always think at some point in time, because my life has been so good, I like to build things up so I can burn them down. Sometimes you need to also experience the darkness, I think, to understand like, I really don't want this. I really don't want to do this, right? Or like and I'm just so happy that you didn't act on it that night, man, and like that we have the opportunity to meet afterwards, to work together, to get to know a different part of yourself, and you have a beautiful family now. Like, wow, like you really let that tape fucking play through, holy shit, dude. Like if you could have a conversation with that Jesse right now, like, man, holy crap, right? Like, probably needed like a clearer me to like talk to. I just needed somebody, and that's
Yeah.
sometimes what it is. You just need somebody.
Yeah.
So, keep an eye on people that you care about and you love. I know that life takes us in different directions, and there's so many people. Like I'd say, almost every day, there's people that I think about different, and I'm like, I need to text this person because I want to grab lunch with them, or but then something happens.
Yeah.
Like I'm in dad mode or in work mode or husband mode, but like try to make time to stay connected to the people that have impacted you, that you love, because it gets pretty lonely out here and scary, and we get in our heads with a lot of different things. So
very true, man.
So
wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, dude.
Check out that bomb this week.
That's amazing, dude. I'm really happy. I never heard that story before. Yeah. Really happy I get to know that part of you, and you shared that with me and with us today. Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome, man.
So we're almost out of time.
Oh damn, it's that time.
I should make a bunch of jokes because I'm so uncomfortable with the share, but not uncomfortable with the share.
No.
Just like when I tend to like joke about something, like if I say something really heavy, I'm like, gotta use humor, but you don't always have to use humor. It's okay to be serious and straight up, and there's a lot of beauty in that.
Just show up that way. Hell yeah.
So thanks for your time, Mr. Therapist.
Absolutely.
Until next week.
Until next time. See ya.